Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Comes to you live from our comfy couch here in the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for April 23rd, 2023, with your host, Spacebreaker2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hello.
We were talking about the Ruby Justice League movie because I saw a tweet that said it was dog shit, and I'm like, oh, that's never a good sign.
Yeah. But yeah, you were saying about it being confirmed 2-part kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst thing that a movie can do, especially with not having any background media.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, people can argue and be like, oh, well, one of the biggest movies ever was part of a 2-parter. Because, yeah, game was the second part of a 2-parter. But it had stuff built up to it. It had multiple films that all fed into the story that culminated in a 2-parter. That kind of made sense. Ruby by itself, we're up through Volume 9. If we were told we were going to have a Ruby movie and it was going to be a 2-part movie kind of deal, at this point I'd be like, okay, as long as it's canon, let's roll with it.
Nope.
When it's not canon is where it's like, no.
Yeah, and I was going to say that, like, it's also the third different premise for this crossover. Like, completely different premise. Because for those that don't know, we've done Ruby Justice League twice in the comics. The first run, which I think was like a couple years ago, DC characters existed in the Ruby canon, but weren't from a separate universe. So like Clark Kent was Clark Kent of the Ruby universe and like had vaguely similar powers to his own, except it was more or less turned into his semblance. Which essentially was, as long as the sun's up, he's got cool powers. As soon as the sun goes down, oops, I'm normal. Oops, turn the switch off.
That's actually a really neat take to it.
Right, and Batman was a bat faunist in Atlas. Wonder Woman is from like some version of Themyscira that exists in Ruby canon. Like the only person who's not directly Ruby is the Green Lantern, who just acts like a normal Green Lantern character because they're just a Green Lantern character of the sector Remnant is in. And it's the Green Lantern character that's in this movie that I still don't remember the name of because she's new and I haven't watched a lot of media that she's in. But it's a new... I think she's Israeli? One second. Jessica Cruz? I feel like it's Jessica Cruz. One second, I need to research this real quick. Yes, Jessica Cruz, who... she's... I forget what she is. Okay, I can't find it easily. Oh, well. But yeah, she's just a regular Green Lantern in comic. But the new Ruby Justice League comic that is currently ongoing, as the Ruby characters get pulled into the DC universe and all sorts of multiversal shenanigans are happening that are turning DC characters into Ruby characters. So like the DC characters are getting semblances, technology stops working because it's not running on dust, etc., etc., etc.
And then we have this that says, we're gonna only do parts of things and none of the other.
Here, the DC characters have been pulled into the Justice League universe, de-aged to the age of RWBY characters, and their powers are translated into semblances, and they have no idea what's going on. Also, the RWBY characters are now experiencing timey-wimey shenanigans because it's like, wait, no, we're supposed to be busy with other stuff. Why are we back in year 1 of RWBY? Which I'm sure plays really well.
Now, have you seen anything from the finale for RWBY for this volume?
I've seen a montage of the essentials of it, and that's pretty much been it. So I at least know what happens generally.
Do you know if I say all did? Do you know the thing that I'm talking about then?
About RWBY, I believe so, yeah.
No, not RWBY.
Oh, okay.
No, about the Ever After.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, I'm not gonna go super far into it because it is a good episode. But essentially, it set up a multiverse in RWBY.
Ah.
Essentially. And I wonder if this is supposed to be one of those Elseworld concept, using comic book terminology there.
Yeah.
Because DC does love to do that far more than anyone else.
And technically, Rooster Teeth is owned by Warner Brothers now.
So it would make sense if part of Volume 9 was to set up the thing to actually make the movie loose canon.
It feels so unnecessary.
I'm debatable on that because I almost feel like this might have been the thought going into it anyhow. But at the same time, I feel like maybe that last twist that really wasn't a twist, seeing as how, you know, I kind of called it halfway through. If maybe that was intentional for kind of deal. Like, it might not have been what was on their mind when they were starting work on the movie, but it might have been a case of by the time they got it done, they were like, I wonder if this would actually fit this way.
I just had to laugh at the end of it because I'm just like, let's see, John gets put back to his normal age. Ruby is back. Everyone goes off to do their thing, and Neo is having therapy. So we are right back to where we were before this season started.
Pretty much.
Which plays into my idea of this should just be watched as a movie. You should just binge it all at once because we are never doing anything here ever again.
See, that's the thing that I'm questionable on.
Yeah.
And I only say that because there is a couple of pretty hefty strings tied between Remnant and the Ever After.
Right.
And I feel like that's going to come back at the end, kind of deal.
I'm sure. I'm just like, of the current events currently at the moment, you can probably just binge watch this and go, all right, we're done. Moving on. Back to plot.
Like I full on feel like the A plot of this volume is literally doing the same thing that Volume 4 kind of did. Laid the groundwork, put out all the problems that everyone in the cast is having, and get everyone to a good point. Because really, that's what Volume 4 kind of did too. It works, and I feel like if I'm looking at the two and comparing them, I felt like this volume was far more enjoyable.
I've seen that where people have really liked this volume, and I'm like, that's nice.
It's one of those you can tell they figured out the missteps. I'm not gonna say problems, but more missteps with Volume 4 and corrected that here. Even though on paper we essentially have the same thing.
Yeah.
I did like the one important bombshell thing that will come back later, I'm sure. And I don't know if you actually got that out of whatever, but let's just say there is one scene in the finale that I feel like, oh, that's gonna come up again at another point.
Does it involve Summer?
Yes, but you probably did know that.
Oh, okay. I assume like parts of the scene, but I don't know if there's anything beyond that. Because I saw
literally the scene kind of concept that I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay, then they broke in.
And I'm like, that's coming back at some point.
Okay, it's just what I saw was broken half. So I'm like, okay, here's this part, and then here's this part, and I'm just like, okay, is there something beyond this? Because I haven't read an episode summary to see if there was anything else.
It's one of those. Yeah. As soon as you see it, you're gonna even be like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because it kind of catches you off guard, but it's not anything major. But it's enough to kind of be one of those, yeah, that's definitely going to be brought back up.
I also did sit down and watch the new Power Rangers special that's on Netflix. It's the 30th anniversary reunion special called Once and Always, where we kind of have to cobble together who we can of the original cast because of various circumstances. Because the original Blue Ranger and the original Black Ranger kind of take lead on this special, because the original Red Ranger is in jail for fraud. The original Green Ranger, Tommy, passed away this last year, and then the original Yellow Ranger passed away several years ago at this point. And then Kimberly, the original Pink Ranger, is busy because I think she's the one with the best career out of everybody. Like, she's on like shows and stuff. So I think it was like SWAT that was on CBS is what she was on that I know of, but she's probably been in other stuff. I know she was just like, yeah, I couldn't come back because of schedule and work and stuff, and probably money because they probably could not pay me enough to fly out there with family, because she has a family and stuff for the, I don't know, like 2 weeks they have to film this special. Because they film in New Zealand currently, for anyone wondering. Which is hilarious because New Zealand, for years, had Power Rangers banned on television.
You can film it here, but you can't air it here.
Yep. So dumb. But they got back the second Red Ranger and the second Pink Ranger and slotted them in. And then they didn't get anybody else to play the Green Ranger because, not going to do that. It is fine. I know everyone else in like Toku fandom and stuff has really enjoyed the special and stuff and really like it. But here's the problem. I was like 1 year old and change when MMPR first aired. I would have only maybe watched MMPR on reruns on Fox Kids. And by then, I think I was probably interested in more the other seasons beyond MMPR at that point. Because I remember them. I don't remember dick of watching MMPR. in any capacity. Even though I know I had to have watched it because I played with the White Tiger Zord toy as a kid. And I had like the third season's Megazord as a toy. So I know definitively that I had to have watched them in PR, but I have no active memories of it. So I can't be nostalgic for it, and otherwise it's kind of fine. It kind of goes through the motions of a story you'd expect of, here's the kid of the Yellow Ranger that dies in the special. She is very upset about it and does some really head-ass stupid shit about with her anger, because yeah, that's kind of how this goes all the time. And it's the basics of that. There's not really much more to it, if I'm being honest. Which is fine, but that's about as good as it gets. So if anyone's interested, I guess you can go watch it. It's on the Netflix and other locations probably. But I have nothing else to talk about because we kind of hit everything we wanted to talk about in Geats, I feel like, for the week.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on Neon to come back and just go, what the fuck happened? I went and had therapy. What happened? What do you mean Ace is dead? What do you mean Kay was dead? What do you mean his sister's traumatized? Again. What the fuck did you all do while I was gone?
And the first one that says die is gonna get killed.
I know it won't happen, but I just want that. I want Neon to have that moment of, I was gone for 2 weeks and y'all fucked up so hard. Why? How? So I also love how Ace is not wrong. He just wants answers with his mom and stuff, and yet can hear fucking Gazer over here is just like, no, I don't wanna play ball. Even though I know this is gonna bite me in the ass, and oh look, it bit him in the ass.
Who could have guessed that?
It's almost like the entire DGP staff, except for probably one of them, are way up their own ass about this shit. And the only reason that the fucking Yamato won is because they couldn't stop bickering at each other. All right, should we get to Black for the week?
I guess we should.
All right, then. Apparently, Kamen Rider Black is supposed, like, the black part of the name is supposed to be in all caps. So I know in the official summary it is all in caps. Now that I'm skimming through it for the first episode. Why?
Reasons?
I guess. But yeah, it is 13 through 16 this week. Anything at all before we get into it?
It was 4 episodes. That's about it.
Yeah. It was 4 episodes.
We kind of hit all the interesting points, in my opinion, on the pre-show.
Yeah.
And by interesting, I mean confusing as crap because, you know, Gorgum are idiots.
Yep. I still have some. From like one episode in particular, but we'll get there.
I just kind of meh at that point.
Fair. But yeah, we will kick off with 13, Mama's the Monster Raising Official. So we follow this couple with their newborn baby when they are attacked by a monster. The monster, I will give them credit, attacks the parents, grabs the child, and yeets the baby. Just yeets it. You are not what I require. And goes to steal the mom and does so by the time Kotaro shows up, and the kid sees this and he's really upset about it.
Also, that dad is in so much pain. and then just lays there.
From his son's bath?
Yes. From the soap that can clearly be washed down a river. See later in the episode.
Yep. Oh no, the Suds, they are doing something, I guess.
I mean, I guess the suds could hurt if they were in your eyes, but that's about all that it's gonna do.
Yep. So this is a part of a string of kidnappings of newly born moms that recently gave birth because Gorgum needs them to help hatch eggs from the crab monster so they can get more crab monsters.
Now let that sink in.
This is oddly specific.
They need new moms to do this. Not just moms. No, they have to have just given birth.
Yes. And what they're doing is they are having them go into a room where they have all these eggs on pedestals and stuff, and they have them baby talk the eggs and rub them under some like UV lights or something, I guess. I don't know.
They literally are just having the, you can do it, bro. You've got this.
Fucking anyone can do that.
Yeah,
What do you... All right, Gorgum, fine. This is why I it's hard for me to really work with like the writer shows that try to go super dark and stuff, because I'm like, this is your source material. This is where you started. And you're trying really hard to get away from this, but like, this is what people like regardless. Why are you trying to deny that this is where you started? I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, Kotaro eventually he like fights the crab monster at some point. Finds out it's too hard. He can't punch it or kick it. He has to get a new move. So he does a training montage where he punches a bunch of boulders and stuff, and then he apparently saves the dog. I blacked out when he saved the dog. I thought he just went, "Oh, I must punch harder." Okay.
No, he saved dog, then said, "Oh, I must punch harder," and that was it.
But I just have to look at Kotaro and go, "You are not charming enough for that to be a personality of yours. No, I refuse." Your lesson does not get to be I punch harder. No, you get a new move like Hongo did all the time, and you forget it in an episode because that's what he does. Because I'm pretty sure he does not use this move for the rest of these 3 episodes. Even though he could probably have used it.
I think technically he does use it.
Oh. It's just not that specific version of it.
It just isn't that he draws attention to. I think it's still the same.
Let's see. Kotaro finds the base eventually. He evacs the kids and the moms, beats up the crab monster with his new better punch, and we call it a day. I'm sure there's something else in here from that episode, but I don't care. Which takes us to episode 14, and I'm going to save this episode title because I need to set y'all up for this like we got set up for you to understand.
Yeah.
So we start in Gorgum's base. They're having monsters fight it out, training, essentially smashing them against each other to make better monsters. And out comes a mammoth monster that can freeze Black and prevent him from doing the rider kick and not the rider punch, which he just powered up last episode. That's beside the point. So, oh no, Black is in trouble. Episode title, The Day Tuna Disappeared.
Let that sink in.
What? What does that have to do with anything? What? What? So then the episode continues, and I feel like it just keeps going off the rails further and further and further and further from where it started, because it felt like they started with a good idea and then didn't know what to do with it afterwards. Because they already did an episode where Black lost and he had to do a training montage, so he couldn't do that again. So Kotaro fights the mammoth monster and beats it. It forces it to retreat. And Gorgum goes, oh no, what do we do about our monster? We need to power it up. And then one of their scientist people goes, well, you could pull this enzyme from tuna and put it into the mammoth monster and it will boost its power. So they proceed to steal all the tuna in town, which causes Kotaro to investigate. And he finds their base. And then he blows up the mammoth monster and kills it. Also, in the middle of this episode, there's a kid. Is he the kid of the chef that shows up in this episode?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know. I just know that they have this kid show up and then the girls go with him to like go honor the anniversary of his mother passing away at the coastline. And then they start singing the outro of the show. And I'm very confused on why this lasts for like 3 minutes. I'm like, wait, this has nothing to do with anything else in this episode. Because just before that, the dad, who's the chef, I assume, tries to stop the mammoth monster and gets injured and gets sent to the hospital through comedy shenanigans. So, not good. And that's episode 14, folks. Which takes us to episode 15, The Targeted Bizarre Academy. Or a completely different episode title according to the subs we have. I didn't bother to fix them. Because I didn't care at this point. So, we have a turtle monster. And it is making children evil via a study group. Because reasons. I actually don't know what the plan is here. What is Gorgum's plan in this?
Very good question.
Okay. But we get to this plot because Kotaro is... I say he's refereeing, but is he coaching a kid's soccer team?
I think he's just coaching.
Okay. Yeah. Kotaro has found the time from his like desperate quest to find his brother and stop Gorgum to coach a little league soccer team. Because he's got to have hobbies, I guess. Not a drop of urgency from this man, I swear. But two of the kids argue about sports and academics. And at this point, I don't care. We are 3 minutes into this episode and I do not give a shit. So the one kid runs off. The other one follows him to his study group. And there we see what I'm confused about this episode. So the one kid is standing on a balance beam. And he has 2 buckets of water that he's having to hold on to. And he is surrounded by not even kiddie pools, now that I think about it, because they're even smaller than that. These small little bowls of hot water? Boiling water? Water with steam coming off of it, I assume. And he is not allowed to get off the balance beam or drop the buckets. What's happening? How is this torture? What is stopping him from just dropping those buckets or just throwing those buckets at the other kids? Because he's not falling into one of those pools. They're too small. Do you have any idea what's happening?
I have no idea.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one confused. So that's happening. But when he tries to go get Kotaro and comes back, they're all happy-dory for having fun time. No one's in pain or in trouble at all. Because they're all on the same page. Because they're all brainwashed. Except for the one they put through the torture that I guess brainwashed him. In like the 20 minutes the other kid was gone, I guess. Anyway, Kotaro plays dumb because he's like, I'm going to get the kid out of here before I start a fight because I don't want to start a fight with the kid here. And unfortunately, it doesn't help. Because Kotaro comes back that night, fights Turtle Monster, finds out, oh no, I can't really fight him because he keeps going into his shell. And I'm like, then kick him in the underside of his shell. It's not that hard. Just kick him like a soccer ball, like you keep teaching these kids. But the next day he gets pulled to the school via soccer ball that phones him and tells him, by the way, we kidnapped the one kid, we're going to torture him, come fight us. So he does so. I do like how this one time Kotaro was like, oh right, I'm really strong even outside of my rider suit. I can easily take a bunch of kids and some random school teacher. He no-sells the fuck out of all of them. Good on you, Kotaro, for remembering you have super strength. But he fights Turtle Monster, beats it, everyone goes home happy, hooray. Episode 16, Friend Across the Sea. Sunglasses Man snipes some guy's briefcase, which causes Kotaro to go after him. And Sunglasses Man says, it's a warning shot. Bye! So we then find out Gorgum is after the super quartz thing because how dare humans figure out how to do ceramics, I think. Because that's bad. Is that what they were saying at the start of this episode?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So that happens. They essentially plan to kidnap the doctor that apparently maybe stole the super quartz. And yes, I believe the actual name of it is super quartz. I feel like if someone squeezed the prop hard enough, it would literally collapse on itself because I think it is just a cardboard thing they've spray painted sparkling silver. I don't know why I think that, but it just looks like it's made of cardboard that is just going to fall apart if someone squeeze it too hard. But Kotaro tries to tail the doctor, and he's at a bar. And that's when Sunglasses Man shows up, and his name's Taki. No relation to the Taki of the original series. This is just a reference. That's going to make me very sad by the end of this episode. Oh, my bad. It's Ultra Quartz, not Super Quartz. Ultra Quartz. But Kotaro goes after Taki, fights him for a bit. Then a monster shows up, and then Kotaro and Taki fight the monster, and then Taki takes the doctor away. And we find out later that he's Interpol, which is like a step up from original Taki, who was just FBI. So I feel like it makes sense that he's investigating something internationally. But the two of them team up. They do the whole disguise thing of the doctor with Taki. They break out the doctors. Kotaro fights the monster. Yay! Kills it. And then Taki's like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to go leave now. Bye. Because why have this character stick around that is clearly like capable of handling themselves and can help Kotaro in a fight and change up the status quo of the series in any meaningful way. And for those wondering, I looked. This guy shows up in one more episode. In the 30s. And that's this week, folks. That is our week in Kamen Rider Black. How do you feel?
That was 4 episodes.
We have come so far and not at all at the same time. Because I'm just like, we have seen the first of the Showa era. We're seeing the last of the Showa era that is technically not a sequel. It doesn't feel like anything has changed, even though these are a couple decades apart, or a decade apart. Yeah, they are 16 years apart. In 16 years of this franchise's existence, it doesn't feel like the show has really evolved in any reasonable capacity.
At all.
That sucks. Because, yeah, these aren't bad. They're boring. And just literally, here's the cold open. Here's, like, what the monsters are up to. Here's Gorgum complaining about something about humanity and why they are doing this plot. Here is Kotaro stumbling into the mystery because the man has no agency and no drive to actually do anything. And just is like, this must be a Gorgum plot. I must investigate now. Instead of actively trying to figure out what the fuck's going on and actively trying to stop Gorgum. Even though his brother is currently captured by them and in a healing bubble and being turned into Shadow Moon eventually.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. We haven't heard about him in like weeks. So that's happening. And then we have 2 side characters that keep showing up that I don't remember the names of and have done nothing. Literally nothing. Nothing of substance or value. And the other 2 main characters of this show, or the other 2 characters that keep showing up in episodes that aren't villains, they do nothing. Nothing of such. They don't even show up on screen long enough to matter. So, yeah, I want to get the Shadow Moon. I want to get to the Shadow Moon stuff because clearly that must be where the good stuff in the show is, because it's not fucking here. It can't be here. This is what everyone doesn't like about the show era to start with. Literally, verbatim. But I don't know if I have the stomach to do so, because good Lord, this show is trying. Any other thoughts, I guess?
No.
All right, then next week we trudge through more of this. Like, the episode preview gives me the tiniest smidge of help because the one girl that is Nobuhiko's girlfriend is the focus of the episode because she gets kidnapped. And I just have to go, that's something.
Except that's not.
I know, but it's more than we've gotten. You get a quarter of a credit for trying to do something with one of those 2 characters. You get a quarter of a credit, and maybe it will be interesting by the end, but I'm like, I also love how we've introduced the road sector and like how much does the road sector matter in like these 4 episodes.
Twice.
Okay.
To help escape.
All right. Because that's what the road sector is for, and not the battle hopper. Because the battle hopper has done. What has the battle hopper done in these 4 episodes?
Sit and collect dust.
Sounds right. poor what's worse is the Battle Hopper's an actual character, kind of. And he's just like stuck in this warehouse like, hey, Kotaro, you gonna call it? Kotaro, can I help? Kotaro? Or, no, you just like this new bike that's not me? That's not the one that helped you escape in the first place? I'm sad now. So yeah, that is Black for the Week, folks. Like I said, next week we trudge through more. But between now and then, Thursday we wrap up RE4 Remake ahead of doing Tears of the Kingdom in like a couple weeks on the Thursdays/Fridays, because yeah, we're probably swapping Thursday and Friday.
Oh,
the
we
week
definitely are.
Yeah.
And that might be a case of we technically do double co-op, but I'm not going to be streaming my side of it because of other stuff.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, that probably will still wind up being a co-op of sorts.
Friday, we are. Now I'm derping. Why am I derping? Cursed Halo 1.
More than likely. I'm probably going to go ahead and switch the schedule to say that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of would that.
I'm glad we are past that one level, because looking back on it now, I feel like that's like the worst level of Halo 1.
Which one? The second level?
Yes.
I wouldn't say the worst as much as I would say the most uneventful.
Yeah,
because,
I think it's
because there's too much time.
Yeah, it's too long.
Even if you know exactly what you're doing with it and nail everything kind of deal, you've still got a huge amount of time.
And since we are doing Cursed Halo, vehicle shenanigans abound, and we're not getting around very fast. And oh, good lord, is it really easy for us to die?
Yeah.
And also kind of break the game sometimes. So it makes what is a long level even longer. Like unnecessarily so. But yeah, that's Friday.
That's why I was just like, yeah, nope.
After the 12th time we died in the exact same fucking spot on the exact same checkpoint, and could not get another checkpoint at all, because for some reason, if one of us dies, it's impossible to get the other one to respawn. Or at least if I die, it's impossible to get me to respawn.
I mean, it was happening with me too.
Okay, yeah, that was a big issue. But yeah, that is Friday. Saturday is an attempt at Star Citizen.
Yes.
We will see how it goes.
It seems like it's working a lot better.
Hooray!
Except for the event stuff that they're trying to do, that apparently, from what I was telling earlier today, most servers are busted on it, so hopefully they'll have a patch for that. It's a case of the new persistent entity stuff. It probably is breaking the Xeno threat that's going on, kind of deal. From what someone in chat was saying, and it sounds right, it's probably a case of someone having the supplies that's supposed to be took to it on their ship when they log off, kind of deal. So the servers aren't realizing, wait, that's not in the server anymore, we need to replenish.
It feels like one of those basic things you should have a check for. But considering Star Citizen, I'm not surprised.
Well, I think pre this persistent entity stuff, it probably did have that check. but because of the way that the persistence is, it's kind of overriding all of that. And
Yeah.
it's them trying to figure out what to fix to keep it from breaking.
But yeah, that's Saturday. And then, like I said, Sunday is us trying to watch more Kamen Rider Black. And I want to watch Stronger on my own time. The more we do the Showa era on here, the more I'm like, maybe I don't. Maybe I like the Showa era that I like, that it's seen in Mega Max and in other like times that they have shown up that I like them. Maybe I don't need to watch their shows. But if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate chipping away at the Filigo. And to use it on Twitter, get updates live. Next page point does Discord and chat. He's listening. Drop by, say hi. See you Thursday, folks.